everywhere. You can control F on the metabolic map. Control F. Yeah, I know I just blew a bunch of people's minds on that. Okay, so Kevin, let's go to the. I got a couple of intro questions for you guys in the primer. So just think about them for a couple of seconds. Put your thoughts in the group chat. Let's start with like maybe the 4 main types of lipids, and then we can go into kind of some of the structural differences. Gonna wait for you guys to put. Okay, phospholipid, good. What else we got? Tags, cholesterol. Okay. Yeah, for the most part, you guys got them. And so, like, they play a bunch of different roles in the cell. Kevin, if you want to go to the next slide. As far as the structure goes, you probably won't be tested too heavily on the structure, but what their function is, that is going to be something you should absolutely know up, down, left, and right. So keep a note of this slide. Triglycerides or energy storage, phospholipids or membrane structure. I don't think I need to tell you guys that one. We've been hearing about the mosaic model of the membrane since we were probably in 5th grade. Don't ignore me if my camera cuts off. For some reason, Zoom does not like my camera. Cholesterol, membrane fluidity, and hormone precursors. All your steroid hormones come from cholesterol, so that's incredibly important. And then glycolipids are cell recognition. All right, Kevin, you want to go to the next one? Yeah. So this is just a thing to get you guys kind of thinking. How does fatty acid saturation affect their fluidity? You guys will kind of learn this more as you go. You don't have to really say anything right now. Just kind of think about it for a couple of seconds, and then I'll show everybody the answers. All right, Kevin, you want to go to the next one? So this just has to do with how these affect fluidity, right? So the more saturated your fatty acids are, the tighter everything is going to be packed and the less fluid it's going to be. Meanwhile, if you think about it, if you've got an extra space open in your fatty acid, it's going to be able to move and flex and bend a little bit easier. Cholesterol is very important because it works to keep things fluid. Amy, I am sorry if I would say actually, yeah, PDFs kind of mess with the orientation of PowerPoints, especially if it's 2 columns. So I apologize about that. All right, guys, that was a quick primer on lipids. I got 2 questions on lipid digestion and absorption. We're going to go through the CVs real quick and get you guys out of here. All right. So, first question, where does most lipid digestion occur and what enzyme is primarily responsible? All right, yeah, you guys are getting this one. A lot of B's coming into chat. Yep. So lipid digestion specifically occurs in the duodenum, right? Digestion is going to start as soon as things touch your mouth with the lingual lipases, right? But your lipids aren't going to be digested until they get to the duodenum. All right, guys. Which best describes the role of bile salts in lipid digestion? Bile salts are really important. Farah, I wish I could understand that. I've heard duodenum, duodenum. It's all there. Yeah, you guys are right. So bile salts play a role in emulsifying dietary lipids. They're really, really important in making sure that we're accurate or actively digesting lipids from our diet. Kevin, if you want to keep going. All right, so that's all the questions I got, guys. And then really quick, three CVs that I know you guys had to look at. I've just got the vignettes pasted here, and we're just going to kind of talk about, write down what's important. If you'll go to the next one, Kevin. So the big pathways here that are going to be relevant are going to be your bilirubin and hemoglobin heme conjugation. So because this is due to hemolytic anemia, there's a couple of pathway deficiencies like G6PD and pyruvate kinase that are going to lead to this bilirubin building up. So this is typically a question they're not going to ask you. I think I saw somebody in the chat asking if they're going to ask you about Michelo's name. They're not going to be asking about Michelo's name, but what they will be asking is, given this presentation, what is the most likely enzyme deficiency, right? So in this case, you need to know G6PD, pyruvate kinase, and that it will lead to hemolytic anemia. All right, now we got lactic acidosis. This one's pretty simple. If anybody who's ever, I mean, this is obviously a more severe case, but anybody who's ever had really intense muscle cramps after working out knows what it feels like to have lactic acid buildup. In this case, you really need to be mindful of the PDHC deficiency. So in this case, you're going to have an increased lactate, pyruvate, and alanine because these byproducts can't be shunted into the correct. We can't break down these products correctly, and so we end up creating more alanine and lactate as a result. All of these are in your metabolic pathway, so don't freak out at what I'm saying if you can't see it. Yes, and the last one is toxic exposure. So I believe somebody kind of talked about this earlier about carbon monoxide, and this is going to be the last one. So carbon monoxide works very similar to cyanide poisoning in that it affects the fourth part of your electron transport chain. So because of this, you're going to have reduced oxygen carrying capacity in your blood because the CO is going to completely displace the oxygen. So one thing that I think that we were tested on, I don't know about if it was an exam question or if it was like a clicker or something, was about the relative affinity. And I know that carbon monoxide is about 200 times higher binding for our hemoglobin than oxygen does. And so the side effects there are like hemoglobin oxygen, right? And also the cytochrome C oxidase, which both of which lead to, hypoxia and anaerobic metabolism, like lactic acidosis. That's pretty much all I have for you guys. I'm very happy you guys have been around for 2 hours for the 62 of you that are here. Appreciate you guys taking the time. If you have any questions, feel free. We'll take a couple of minutes and just answer stuff in the chat. But otherwise, I think you guys all have our emails if you need to answer anything or if you have any questions for us. Pray for us. Will you survive? Yeah, you're going to be fine. I know that they changed up the ordering of it, but it's the same material. It's